All right. 1, 2, 1, 2. Bobby, Joe, Billy. What is the deal? Let me get this back up for you. I feel like this is too close. All right. 1, 2, 1, 2. Silence that. What's the deal? What's going on out there, Bobby, Joe, Billy? We got us a little topic right here. Let's get a couple people in. I know I haven't been coming on. I haven't been coming on like I'm supposed to, so it takes a little while for our alerts to go out. But Julie TV, what's the deal? What's going on out there? We got a little new topic here about Thomas Jefferson. Thomas Jefferson is quite a character to me. I went to Thomas Jefferson's house in elementary. We did a school field trip to Washington, D.C. And I ended up going to Thomas Jefferson's house, and that was the bugged out thing. Where he lived at is called Mount Vernon. You see, we got Mount Vernon right here, right outside of New York. Divine King, Late Bloomer Show, 360. Yeah, you got to watch that. I don't know why YouTube does that, but for whatever reason, sometimes they turn off people's alerts. Then especially when you don't, when you don't broadcast. See, that's one of the reasons why I'm moving over to Patreon. Because see, on this, you kind of, if you don't do, people that's full-time YouTubers, right? I'm not full-time YouTuber. But yeah, when you're a full-time YouTuber, you gotta broadcast when they want you to broadcast. There's various people that got systems where, you can have a mailing list or a text list or whatever, that can help you out, but it all depends on what they want to do. Thomas Jefferson used to live in Monticello, so who lived in Mount Vernon? George Washington? Because we went to George Washington's house too. Yeah, I met Trouble T. Ray a couple of times. Yeah, Heavy D, all the people out there that was a part of the hip hop thing. I can't even tell because I'm on this new. How many people we got in here now? All these screens that I got up, none of them got the status of 11. That's still a little bit because you know how it is, man. See, we start the topic, and then somebody comes in like 5 minutes after I start, right? And then they say, what's this about? Then 10 minutes, people come in. What did I miss? So sometimes I like to get the main people going. But what's the deal? What's going on out there on your end, your TV? Medina, what's the deal? You going to who's going to a large social for his born day? Raphael Bird. It could Bobby Joe Billy. Yeah, I know one of them resided in Mount Vernon, but you're right, I do remember Monticello. Right now, Medina, I'm maintaining. I heard it was freezing out there, so that's why I'm in here. I figured I'd do my live stream. Oh yeah, if it's cold here, you already know what it is in New Jersey. I can imagine what it is like upstate, that Pennsylvania. A lot of people come to New York from other places, like cold weather places. And when they get to New York, they like, I thought it was cold here. Like people come out here from Chicago and wear windbreakers in the dead of winter. When we bundled up, they be like, yeah, this ain't really. But what happened to the needle now? Where we at? Should we get this started? Because right now we're just doing smoke talks. Do we don't have our main people. But it's Jackson, Mississippi is cold. Well, what's cold for Jackson, Mississippi? Because sometimes you go down south and they be like, yeah, it's like 55 out here, man. We just they be like, yeah, I can't go out, man. It's like 55. Cats got on North Faces. Cats got on North Faces some places, man. It's in the 50s. Like I can't even put my North Face on until it's at least in the 40s. Or wisdom at 50 degrees, yeah, that's cold. On every part of the planet, that's cold. Except for what was the temperature that night? What was the temperature that night when the dude, the Somali, remember the dude got you remember the dude said he got like the racists poured bleach on him or something? He said the racists poured bleach on him and put a noose around his neck. See, this is what I'm saying. It's supposed to be 70s in Orlando. I might just do that. See, my family though. that I got family that live in Florida, but the family is dwindling down now. That's what I should do. Go down there and then pop back up like in like April or May when it's back on the rise. Come down there and go to Disney World. Which one is there, Disney World or Disneyland? Yeah, it was pretty. Look, that night when the Smiley dude, right? How it was only like 15 degrees or something that night. Ooh, 75 in Arizona. But see, let me tell you something. That West Coast heat is different. You said it was a hanging 6 or 7 months ago. What are you talking about? Now, I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about a dude that he did a hoax saying in Chicago, saying that he was going to get a Subway sandwich. Yeah, I come down there and go to Disney World. Yeah, that West Coast heat is different. Well, I don't know about all the way on the West Coast. I haven't spent as much time, but uh, I was in New Mexico, and it's not the same because it's no moisture in the air. So it's like that heat be like cooking you on the inside. Like you could die out there. Like you could tell a difference. Like when you pass a certain point, if you driving coming from the West Coast, where you could feel the humidity come back in the air, like the water, you could you you could feel it. See, for somebody that's from the coast, that's like a kind of life that you feel come back into. Yeah, that dry heat, whatever it is, I don't know what they call it, but it's something where like you could be walking from someplace to someplace and start feeling like you're not going to make it, man. It's like that's out in the desert. Like it's that was something different. That being out there, I wasn't used to that, and people was warning me. People was like, "Nah, don't go out there." I'm like, "What you talking about? I'm from New York, man." Yeah, you're right. It's like that. It's like checking your food in the oven. But wait a minute though. This what you're saying here. You saying in Mississippi. I don't know if this is what you're saying, but because I'm laughing a little bit, but this is a serious issue. It sounds, it looked like what you wrote there is that a 21-year-old, a 21-year-old uh, lost his, he was unalived, right? And you saying that uh, this was a hanging? And you're saying that happened 6 or 7 months ago. So this happened 6 or 7 months ago. And where did you say this happened? Did you say this happened at a college campus? Or am I mixing something? Because I was running my mouth, but I was seeing what you was typing. So you saying, well, I mean, I would guess, being that, I mean, I may have heard of it, but I can't, I didn't hear of it, that they would be saying that it's a suicide. And where was the person found? Like inside their dorm room or outside? Where? I guess you said it was the same time. Quizon Quaco Levine, what is the deal? It's been a minute, man. You've been back in the ring sparring. Last time we talked, you said you was sparring with your nephews. The your neck recovered. Quizon Quaco Levine had some surgery on his neck. That was about 2 years ago or something now. But yeah, we ain't seen him. We haven't seen him as much. So you said he was hanging from a tree with a chair. All right, and hitting the mix. Hey man, look, that's good, man, because whew, that type of surgery right there, man. So you know what it is, G. Raphael Bird. People is a lot of times, sometimes people sometimes, right? People from those places don't like for you to say that. But look, Mississippi got a track record. We're like, see, even the system, they might be like, yo, why y'all thinking that? And it's like, come on, son, it's Mississippi. It's like there was some years in there, like say in the '90s, in the early 2000s, where they was constantly pumping that. That yo, nah, it's changed. It's not like that no more. And then some shit like this happened, and we like, yo, we don't get it. It's not funny, I'm saying, but that's crazy, man. And so, and where's Benjamin Crump? Not that he's going to do no good. But I'm surprised I haven't. Speaking of Benjamin Crump, just a little PSA, right? Everybody stay away from that cat that's talking about he's the leader of the new Black Panthers. Don't even go on no page where he's talking. Don't even don't even let your IP address registered on nothing where he's at. Because he's in on that level. He's in on that level. Look, I'm going, you know how I look. Wrap your tinfoil hats around your head right now. So Colin Kaepernick paid for an outside autopsy for the who was it? It was a brother that this happened to. Kaepernick coming through in the clutch. See, I knew it was the reason I stopped watching the NFL. You know, look, people have flaws. It's people. He just did it for this and he just did it for that. Yeah, all right, but he did it. 793rd. We ain't saying much. You'll catch up soon. But yeah, stay away from that guy. Whoever that guy is, look, I'm gonna tell you what the issue is. This is the issue, bro. And I don't want to step on no toes, but look, this is the issue, right? Is whenever this funny stuff happens, there's always somebody that's there that came out of nowhere. Like, did you see that it was some kind of special where they was covering the assassination of Martin Luther King. And he was talking to Andrew Young, right? And at a certain point he said, yeah, no, we ain't know Jesse. He just started hanging around. Just he, welcome to the channel. Did anybody see that? It was the same one where he said, yeah, I don't know, some people, I don't know how they deal with various things, Jesse just dipped his hand in the blood and wiped it on his jacket. Did anybody see that? Did anybody see did anybody see the it was an interview on Gil Noble. This is going back. The interview on Gil Noble where they had the guy that lined up Fred Hampton. He wasn't even from Chicago. He was from Detroit. In his interview, he said that he wasn't even into the civil rights thing. He wasn't even thinking about that. He stole a car, and while he's sitting in jail, the police asked him, like, yo, you want to join one of these movements for us and give us some information? And it was a way out of jail. He goes to join the Panthers, and they make him the head of security. Did anybody see there was a documentary about the Black Panthers? And they was talking about how that they had the event where they're going to the to the California, the state capitol, to demonstrate, whatever they protested, right? So they got their guns and everything, in the way that they do. And for whatever reason, Ronald Reagan, who was the governor at that time, right? He was coming back to the Capitol for whatever reason. So they kind of see each other at the same time. Like Ronald Reagan is looking like, yo, who's all those N words with guns over there? And they looking over there and saying, yo, ain't that Reagan right there? So they start running towards Reagan to say whatever they want to say, and Reagan and his detail, they start running. And because all of this is happening on the Capitol, it's on camera and it comes on the news, right? So it cuts, like that's how the documentary cuts. Is them talking about that event, and then it cuts to all these people who became Black Panthers, and they all was like, yo, when we saw that on TV, we was like, yo, we got to get down with that. Like, this is like, yo, I'm 100% with them. So then the Panthers say that, all these people came out there and they didn't have no time to really know who these people was. They didn't have no time to separate, you know what I'm saying, the pearls from the swine. So they was just giving people the program and sending them back to whoever they was. But they had no way of knowing who these people was. So these people went to various places and, whether they turned this into some crime stuff or whether they turned it into the police or whatever they did. So those is a lot of going around and around the world right there, right? But I'm saying all that to say that there's all of these many examples of people that come out of nowhere. Like, look, it's people is born every day. None of us know everybody. But it's like, look, you ever be you ever see graffiti someplace? You see graffiti someplace and you can't figure out how they got up there. When you looking at it, like, how the fuck they got up there? Like, even if they hang down from the top, right? How would they? Because this is a little bit. How you got up there? What time did they do that? Because you know that's an endeavor right there. That's something right there. That in order to handle that, that's an operation that's gonna have to happen. And how they got up there and did that? How this person get up there? People wake up every day, right? I came out the 85% world, but I'm saying what it was that woke you up. See, look, I thought about it for myself the other day, right? I was like, you know what it really was? See, when I first ran into 5%ers, they said they was God. Like when I first, the first Like I'm seeing people, like I said, with the crowns on. I'm seeing people, stand in a circle and all that. I don't know what that's. I'm on my way to the park, the pizza shop, the store, the arcade. I'm doing what I'm doing. Then somebody says Jerry's God. Somebody said Jerry said he's God, right? I asked Jerry, man, what do you mean by that? Jerry don't know what he mean by that. So how you gonna tell me what he mean by that, right? But eventually, what happened, right? See, when they said they was God, I was like, yeah. But then they said I was God. And then I was like, tell me more about this. was, let me, let's dig a little deeper. Let's dig a little bit deeper into that part. So how you went, like what it was, what experience you had, right? Where you a grown person and now all of a sudden you on the news, you on the news, you stand around, you got these things out, right? How you doing that? You said I'm glad the Black Panther Party came to protest and made a very good mark on that community. Which young man you talking about? And what Black Panther? That guy's not Black Panthers. That's let me maybe I'm not being clear. Maybe I'm not being clear. See, look, that's the thing that I once upon a time loved about the 5% is that I knew these people from junior high school. Like it was a time like when I was about 17, right? I started thinking about that in real life terms, right? When I got about 17, I started thinking, damn, son, because look, if you remember, right, back in the days, there was a show called 21 Jump Street. And that show kind of changed the consciousness of anybody that was, if you was doing things you wasn't supposed to do, that kind of changed your consciousness about who the police could be. And I remember when I got like 17, I was thinking that look, all of these people, that I've been around all this time being 5%, like, we go to school together. Like I go to the store with you, right? I go to the store with you sometimes when your mom sent you to the store. Like we know each other like that. You come with me, I gotta go all the way up. We got to jump on the train, son. But yeah, I need somebody to rock with me. Yeah, my pops told me I gotta go do this. Alfonso said, I don't want to hear any fantasy this evening. Who's Alfonso Digital? He said he's back at it. When you started? Yeah, let me get back to what I was saying. See, and look, this is a good example. But I remember thinking, PKA Alfonso Brown. You got a BKA or you know I understand your PKA, right? But do you have a BKA? Because I don't, I still, that doesn't ring a bell. But look, that's one of the days, look, that's one of the things I'll be saying now. When people come out of nowhere, right? And it's just like, yo, they got the knowledge from a person that I don't know, don't nobody know, they show up fully formed, right? They show up fully formed. Don't nobody remember when they was on the 110. You know, that's what I'm saying. G. Like, yeah, now because time is passing, but there's still plenty of people that can tell you, I remember this nigga just started. I remember before all that, he came a long way. There's people that can tell you that, right? If can't nobody tell me, man, about the distance recovery, man, then you suspect to me. And look, I know everybody in their own mind, right? You know what you about, but I don't. Or you used to come to the lives a few years ago. All right. That's peace. Welcome back. You said, I want to welcome you to my podcast, Blind Intelligence, where I talk about debt collections and other things. All right, that's peace. You got expertise in that? Like you were a financial planner or what's your expertise in that? That's your channel right there, Raphael Bird. But I got to build with you first before I tell people because you could be a huckster. That's what I'm saying. See, before I tell people to go on your page and take your advice, you just ask your question or two. You gotta do at least as much due diligence as we can on a live stream. You said from a financial what's that? Financial background, I own a credit consulting business. All right, but that's kind of two different things, guys. That. See, and look, it's me. It's not you, guys. It's me. It's not you. But you gotta realize, like I spent a considerable amount of time doing things that I'm not supposed to do, right? In New York City. So see, the question I asked you was, what is your expertise in these matters? And you said I own a credit consulting business. Now I'm just saying in New York City, right? Those two things are not the same. So I'm not questioning whether you have expertise. I'm just saying you didn't answer the question right there. Oh no, I didn't break it down yet. We actually uh we was taking some time, we was letting some people come in because we didn't want we didn't want too many people to have to catch up. So we figured that, we make some small talk until some people came in and then we got into some topics. But look, my main thing though, right, is coming back is look, you gotta know people. Like that's what it is about being in person and walking miles and everything. See, that's why a lot of people, right, that you see get rejected, and you be like, yo, this person has a good idea. And they came to the rally, right? And people didn't accept it. It's a lot of times it's like, yeah, but we don't know who you are. So you gotta still know about the signs of the Trojan horse. You gotta know about stranger danger. Everybody that offer you a piece of candy or offer you a ride is not your friend. If you don't know them, do not take no candy from them. That's how I learned. And you know how it is. I learned that from my parents. But even in the day, once you come outside, look, that person out from around here, what they doing around here? What they doing out park? Where they from? When I came into the knowledge, look, my name is Darkim Be Allah. What's your name? I know this degree. What degrees you know? How you see the day supreme mathematics? See, we going through all that. All right, now look, we build now, right? So you on point. Now we get in. Well, look, guy, I'm in this area right here. I'm going to the party over there. You want to roll? But we got to at least pay some kind of visit to each other's mind where we know who we're dealing with. So, look, that's just a little PSA. That's not the point of the live stream. But I just, the brother made a statement. I just wanted to, you should have an extended background with helping with getting people out of debts in my city. I know consumer law. Check me out. All right, look, what's your righteous name? That's it. Because you still not. I mean, and so yeah, what's your righteous name first? Because look, I want you to what's the so this is Master King Allah, right? Look, Bill with Master King Allah. You know what I'm saying? Look, I gotta keep it 100. He didn't exactly uh he didn't exactly give us no source for his expertise. You know what I'm saying? But he does say that he has experience. You know what I'm saying? So uh, look, like I always say, I would rather somebody who doesn't have a degree, right? But they have 100 patients that they've operated on their brain, and those people are still living. They fine. They can do math. They write books. They, you know what I'm saying. Then a person who says, "Look, I got all A's, but they've never even had a white jacket on." So it doesn't mean that he doesn't know what he's doing, but I would say start with building with Master King Allah. and make that decision of if you can use his financial services or not. But it's we definitely we killed enough time. I wouldn't say that we wasted all of it, but we killed enough time, right? So now we're here, right? Let's get back to the title here, right? Thomas Jefferson and making the devil, right? So this right here, the reason why I left it on this page right here is so that anybody could see here what I Googled in order to bring this up, right? You know, so you can look this up for yourself, right? So as you can see right here, right, where my mouse is right here, that this is the National Archives.gov, right? So, you know, I'm saying that to say that that gives it some level of credibility there, right? In these in the way I'm about to present this right here, right? So this is a letter from Thomas Jefferson to Francis C. Gray on March 4th, 1815, right? Uh, I didn't do that little bit of due diligence right there. I actually do not know who Francis C. Gray is, right? But this is the source right here. This is where you can look this up. You know, I'm sure there's some other places that uh, that you can research this. But look, we're about to click on this because this kind of speaks for itself. Where we have to get into it in order for me trying to explain it to you. It's not gonna it's not gonna do the justice that will be done if we just get into it here. Let me see. Can I? So can y'all see this here on the screen? Yeah, we can see this. So it says here to Francis C. Gray, dear sir, dispatching to Mr. Tickner my packet of letters for Paris, it occurs to me that I committed an error in a matter of information which you asked of me while here. It is indeed of little importance, yet as well corrected as otherwise, and the rather as it gives me an occasion of renewing my respects to you. You asked me in a conversation what constituted a mulatto by our law. You know, I'm just saying now, look, because y'all know, see, I had some issues with some people that they, I don't know what they want to present, but y'all know how I love Elijah on it. Y'all know how I love Elijah on here. So remember what Elijah told us, right? About the first rules and regulations, including all laws to be enforced while manufacturing the devil. Remember when my man Elijah said that, right? What constituted a mulatto by our law? And I believe I told you 4 crossings with the whites. See now, look, I don't want to. This is we going over something. I don't know if people know about this. And I know this is a cheap shot, but look, for all of those people that want to change the lessons, for all those people that want to change the lessons, have you done your research? Right? what constituted a mulatto by our law, and I believe I told you four crossings with the whites. I looked afterwards into our law and found it to be in these words: every person other than a Negro of whose grandfathers or grandmothers anyone shall have been a Negro shall be deemed a mulatto. And so every such person who shall have one fourth part or more of Negro blood shall in like manner be deemed a mulatto. And then he has the citation here, L. Verga, 1792, December 17th, right? This is where he found this written into the law here of what is a mulatto, right? The case put in the first member of this paragraph of this law is exempli gratia. Does anybody know what that means? Anybody? Somebody look at that Latin up for us. Get that translated for us, right? The latter contains the true canon, which is that one fourth of Negro blood mixed with any portion of white constitutes the mulatto, as the issue has one half of the blood of each parent, and the blood of each of these may be made up of a variety of fractional mixtures. The estimate of their compound in some cases may be intricate. It becomes a mathematical problem of the same class with those on the mixtures of different liquors or different metals, as in these, therefore, the algebraical notation is the most convenient and intelligible. Let us express the pure blood of the white in the capital letters of the printed alphabet and the pure blood of the Negro in the small letters of the printed alphabet in any given mixture of either by way of abridgment in MS letters. So gratia meaning grace, favor, blessing, or elegance. What's the that's just one part. We need the whole thing. Right? So now we get to this formula. We get to this formula here that look, I haven't have I haven't had an opportunity, right, to really break this formula down. Where's the mathematician? We got the wordsmith. I saw the wordsmith came in a couple of minutes ago. Okay, so exempli gratia means for example. But we need a mathematician in here to really see if this math is mathing. Because see, I get too excited, man, because I love Elijah. So see, when I see down here, right? If you see down at the bottom of the numbers where it says we're in 3/16 of A is no longer mulatto. Now remember when Elijah said this thing is broken down by 16 shades. But see, I get too excited tonight. I can't. I haven't even gotten to the numbers yet. Is that right there? It just came in. Can't see the name. Oh, Shine Love for the neighborhood. What's the deal? Missed us by that much. But see, I want y'all to check what happens in this formula, though. Check it out, though, when we just read it, right? Let's get back to the formula. Let the first crossing of A, right? So they put us in the lowercase. But look, notice, let's start here. You know, let's start here with breaking this thing down. It said, let the first crossing of A pure Negro. Now look, remember what Elijah told us. Elijah said, you got to start what must you begin with? I know I'm not the only one. I know I'm not the only one in here that's at least familiar with the lessons. What must one first do? Somebody out there got to have it. Come on. This is the Random Jewels Network right here. See, y'all gotta wait till divine understanding get in here. See, when divine understanding get in here, then we wouldn't have to wait this long. They must start from the original. The original Mr. 120, what's the deal? You got to start with the original man. So it said, let the first crossing of a pure Negro, right, with a pure white, right? The unit of blood of the issue being composed of the half of that of each parent will be A divided by 2 plus, well, lowercase a divided by 2 plus capital A divided by 2, right? Call it for abbreviation H, half blood, right? Now listen, what did Elijah say that also had to happen? Come on, we got all stars in here. See, other than destroying the Black Sea and manipulating the Brown Sea, what else had to happen? Well, what did Elijah tell us that also happened? We got the original Mr. 120 in here now, so I know it ain't gonna be. See, that's right. See, but you see what I said? Right as I said it, you see how that came up? I told y'all we got the original Mr. 120 in there. Then in the original blood. Somebody go get the people that want to change the lessons. Somebody go get them people that said my man Elijah didn't know what he was talking about. But look, this Thomas Jefferson is not like he's the expert of all experts, but he said that this is according to our law. Now, I know where a lot of people think he's talking about the Constitution. And y'all might think I got a tinfoil hat on, but I know what law he's talking about. He's not talking about the Constitution. But let's get back to it, right? Let the second crossing of H, right? So now we at the half original mint. That's what it's, we at H, the half blood, right? Let the second crossing, right? Because we remember we started with the original mint, right? Let the first crossing of lowercase a, pure Negro, with capital A, pure white, right? So now we get the half original man, right? So let the second crossing of H and B, right? The blood of the issue will be H divided by 2 plus B divided by 2, right? Now, one thing that they didn't do here, right, is tell us you didn't give us a definition for B. Did I miss something? See, you gotta. Now, I'm going to say this because he spoke about these four crossings with whites. And he did say something about the letters, right? So it says here, let us express the pure blood of white in the capital letters print. Okay, so B just means that it's the second white person. We got that. See, this is how you gotta do problem solving. See, this is why the arithmetic is just the numbers. That's just 196,940,000. That's just a number. What was that supposed to mean? But we have to get the meaning. We have to see what these things mean, right? So now we got the half original man, right? And now he's mixing with the second white person, right? Because person A is his parent. So I see where they're going with this, right? So he goes out, finds person B, and the next thing, right? It says, let the second crossing of H and B, right? Capital B, the blood of issue. So we thin in the blood a little bit more, right? Will be the half original person divided by 2 plus the second colored person divided by 2, or substituting for H2, its equivalent will be lowercase a over 4 now, right? Plus a over 4 plus b over 2. Hmm. Let's see. Now this is what I'm saying. Let's check this math right. Uh, I'm not sure why we would go a lowercase a over 4 plus uppercase capital A over 4 plus b over 2. I mean, I see where they're going with the 1/4. What he's doing is trying to uh he's coming up with a a mathematical, an arithmetic solution, right? To now say that this person is only 1/4. So if you stick with 2 as the denominator, if you stick with 2 as a denominator, then it'd be hard to do that. So this is where he comes with this equivalent here of A/4. Now look, we ain't not gonna go through this, but I'm just gonna say off the top of my head, right, is that this formula here, where he comes with the A/4 and all of that, is the equivalent after this stage. Like he's coming in with this formula too early. But like I said, we would really have to sit down with a chalkboard and a marker and do it. But right now, I'm going to say that this formula is early, and that once he put this formula together, B/2 would be included in it. Because what he would be doing is saying B/2, it would be B/2 I think ultimately it would have to be AB/4. A plus B/4. And then you would have to change the denominator somehow of the lowercase a. But right now, this is what he's saying. This I don't think that's true. But I see what he's doing. He needs to say that this new person now is only 1/4, is only 1/4 black. So this is where he's introducing this new formula here with 4 as the denominator, right? So let's start from the beginning right here again. He said, let the second crossing of H, right, the half original person, and B, right, the second colored person, the blood of the issue will be H/2 plus capital B/2, or substituting the H2 for its equivalent will be A over lowercase a/4 plus uppercase A/4 plus B/2. Yeah, this math is twisted here. You gotta remember, look, Isaac Newton didn't come too long before this. His math is twisted here, but I see what he's saying, right? So call it Q, quarter room being 1/4 Negro blood, right? So like I said, that's where he wants to get there, right? So now we're at, right, what the way I learned it is a red sea. This is a red sea, right? Now look, in the way that we learn it, this represents 400 years. This represents 400 years. This is what happens, right? If you, right, a pure Negro mixed with a capital A, pure white, this is what can happen, right? So we finish now. This is the second 400 years. I mean, the second 200 years, right? So we went from original to half original, right, to now, a red sea, right? So it said, let the third crossing of Q. So now Q represents the Red Sea, right? And C, which represents the third colored person, their offspring will be Q over 2 plus C, capital C over 2. And then he does the same funny math here again, right? We're not going to go through that again. But now he needs to say that this person is 1/8, right? 1/8 Negro blood, right? So he introduced 8. He introduces 8 here as the denominator, right? So it says, call this E 8 who having less than 1/4, right, of A or of pure Negro blood, to wit, 1/8 only, is no longer a mulatto, so that a third cross clears the blood from these elements. Let us examine other compounds. For example, let H and Q cohabit. See, I don't know if y'all hearing this, man. I don't know. Look, am I being clear? Is everybody following me here? Because he just said that in that, he just, look, let the third crossing. Remember, I just said that this represents, each one of these crosses right here that he put right here represents 200 years. We started with A, pure Negro blood, and mixed it with pure white. And that produced half. We're gonna get to that knowledge, boy. That's down the line. That's down the line, right? But look, listen, that resulted in the half original. So then the half original, right, mixed with a pure white, and that resulted, right, in the Red Sea. And then when the Red Sea resulted, I mean, mixed with a third colored person, right? It said their offspring is no longer a mulatto. So that third cross clears the blood. Now look, is anybody, because everybody that came in, they was like, yo, what's up with this title? I'm saying if I'm losing y'all here, somebody let me know. Look, type one in the what's the name. Type one in the what's the name if y'all picking up what I'm putting down. I don't want to keep going. I don't want to keep going if I'm confusing people. See, maybe I'm overly excited. I want to let's pump the brakes right here and make sure that everybody's with us. Okay, so everybody's with us so far. This is, hey, look, this is where I want us to be, right? So look, in this next part of it, right, right here, listen, Thomas Jefferson. This is what I say. He's a character. Say he just put right here how to make the devil sing. This is in the National Archives. For those that, if you can look up at the top, I don't know if you, if you might have just came in. This is the nationalarchives.gov. You know what I'm saying? Like this is not Alex Jones. This is not the Alex Jones site or something. Now, shout out to Alex Jones. I'm not saying everything he's saying, but I'm just saying And this is where I got this from. And this is where anybody can go and look this up, right? And see if, you know, if look, let me know if this is a hoax. But look, this is what he does here. This is what he does here, right? He says here, right? He says, from these elements, let us examine other compounds. Now, look, somebody tell me what he means by that. Somebody tell me what he means by that. I don't want to lead y'all. Somebody tell me what do you hear, right? What do you hear when he says that? I'm just saying, hey, look, I want everybody that's on this live stream, the next time somebody says they want to change the lessons, this I want you to use this. I want you to use this here. He said other combinations of different nationalities, other combinations of race mixing. Let us do some other tampering, mixing, diluting. See, what this is saying, right, is what happens when our half-white children start mixing with our other half-white children. See, I don't want to get too loose, but you know, we look, we, this is not that kind of channel. This is not that kind of channel, but you know, look, this. Now, see, now look, now we're gonna get back to what you were saying about knowledge born, where you said, look, is this something about how they was going to deal with the world? Is this a plan? Now, look, this is the same man that has, I think they said, I think they said 6 children with a woman named Sally Hemings. You know, and of course, when you're dealing with, you know, slaves, people that was born into slavery in the late 1700s, early 1800s, there's not a lot of records about them, right? Hold on, Elias, what kind of question is this? You said, are there half pure whites and half whites even today? What are you talking about? Clarify the question. I don't want to, you know, but clarify this question because it almost seems like you're trolling from my perspective. But getting back to what I'm saying, Thomas Jefferson has 6 children with a woman named Sally Hemings, right? And some of the history that I ended up researching about that situation said that Sally Hemings was his white wife's half sister, that his wife's father had with a slave. But you know, they family, so you know, boom, yeah, take that slave with you, whatever. And then, you know, they probably, you know, we seen it in the various movies. How they get a slave, at least when they little, to come and play and be, you know, when they finish playing with the toys, they got the slave to pick up the toys for the white children. If the white child breaks something, they got the slave there to take the beating for it. So yeah, you take her with you, and then whatever happened when his wife, when Thomas Jefferson's wife passed away, he started dealing with Sally Hemings. So when you ask the question, right, is this their plan? If it's not, he damn sure executed it. I tell you that much. So Elias second says, seems like there's been so much mixing going on until today, makes one wonder if there are pure or even half breeds. Oh, I see what you're saying. You're saying is this process so far along that there's no more original? Let me clear your mind. I'm original. let me let me relieve your mind of all bullshit. I'm pure. My insides, all the way look to the core of my very being. Just in case you didn't know, But I digress. I digress. You know what I'm saying? But look, we also know that they had a plan, right? Or let's not say they planned it, but the way it was executed, right, is that a lot of these half originals in quarter rooms, right, would get their freedom before the 1860s. You know what I'm saying? Whether you escape, whether it was Sherman's March, whether it was all the way to Juneteenth. Right? They're releasing their offspring into freedom. And so who else are they going to mix with except their other offspring? Because they already put right here what happened if they mix with other white people. Notice they don't have if they mix with other black people. Because what's the plan? How do the plans start? You must destroy the black seed. And graft the brown into white. This is what this is saying right here. Somebody else, look, where are the people? See, because at any other time y'all speak up, where's the people that be saying we need to change the lessons? We need to update the lessons. Where y'all at? But let's examine from these elements, let us examine other compounds. For example, let H, right, a half original, and Q, a quarter room, cohabit. Their issue will be let's leave because like I said, his math is off for me, right? We would have to sit down and really do the whole, all the equivalencies, but I'm gonna say his math is off, right? So it says wherein we find 3/8. So if they're saying if the half original, right, meaning an original person, right, and let's be clear, they're talking about the original woman. because they're not suggesting, Thomas Jefferson is not suggesting that a black man have a baby with a black woman, that with a white woman. That is not in the slightest what this this equation here is about. Let's are we clear on that? That he's not the black man. You might be included as some of the offspring here. But at no point is A, B, or C, right? Capital A, B, or C, right? Meaning the pure white blood that's coming into this supposed to be the white woman. Is everybody clear on that? But he says here that this will result in 3/8 of Negro blood, right? A half original and a quarter, which is also funny math. Wait. Yeah, this is a little bit funny math because if you got 1/4 and 1/8, I mean 1/4 and 1/2, right? So 1/2 is already 4/8, right? And 1/4, oh, I see what this is. So you subtract it. Because that's how the devil is made, from subtraction. You see how he got me right there? See, because I'm thinking addition. I'm adding. You see, even how he put these addition, how he put these plus signs here, it did you subtracting. So one 1/2 is 4/8, right? And 1/4 is 2/8. So between the 2/8 and the 4/8 is 3/8. See, where I'm thinking add the 2/8 and the 4/8 together and get 6/8. No, this is a subtraction thing. This is subtraction. See, that's why it's that division. That's why it's the A over 2, the lowercase a over 2 plus the capital A over 2. Because it's division and subtraction by what you made the devil. See, now I got to go back and look at the math all over. Because that's where that could be where I got twisted the whole time where I didn't understand his math. See, because this is not our math. See, it said by our law. I'm not this that's them. See, this is why you got to understand and see the lessons and in our lessons, where it says us and them, you gotta understand what that means. So see now this is what they wrote. This is not Elijah didn't write this. Thomas Jefferson wrote this. So when he said by our law, now I got to remember, see from the jump, what is their law? Unlike attract, like repels. their first rules is to make sure that what everybody's unlike. You almost caught me with that one, Mr. Jefferson. But let's move on. Let's keep it moving. Let's keep it going. Right. So now we at uh we're letting H, a half original, and E cohabit. Right. So who's E again? Because we know who H is. There's A, H, and Q. Nah, you can't add the numbers like that though, Knowledge Born. You gotta make the common denominators first. Yeah. Oh, right. So the E is the 1/8. So the E, right? The E is the one who they saying that look, see, it's in lowercase because you got that nigga history. You got a little nigga in you, right? But we can't tell no more. So this is the E, right? They saying that look, let H, a half original, in E cohabit, right? And their issue will be 5/16. So that's what it's telling you. That see one person, one step backwards. That's why the penalty was death. You see, they saying right here that if you mix an eighth with a half, then you back to 5/16. Now you back to mulatto. You see up there, it said you got to drop to below 3/16. So now it says let Q and E cohabit. Now the result is 3/16 of A is no longer a mulatto. So this was telling you that this is how you have to make a colored person. This is what's showing you, right? That now even if none of us is involved no more. So this was it's telling you now, right? How our offspring can either take themselves back to the original or they can make the devil amongst themselves. That's what these last two is telling you. That H and E cohabit, right? See, H you too dark now in this here. In this here, see now, cause ain't no black and brown seeds now. So see H, you the new angel baby, nigga. So you thought it was sweet. You it was sweet being the holy baby, wasn't it? See, this is look, you know, I'm sure we got some of our Spanish brothers in here, Julia TV. We got a couple people in here. Look, this is advanced array shit here. This is the advanced array shit. This is the advanced array shit right here. And this is where it's telling you where this stuff came from. where this mentality came from. But let's continue. Let's put this up here on the screen. Let's need this to come up here so I can see it on the big screen. Right? So then it goes on to say, and thus may every compound be noted in sum, the sum of the fractions composing the blood of the issue being always equal to unit. It is understood in natural history that a fourth cross, and thus may every that a fourth cross of one race of animals with another gives an issue equivalent for all sensible purposes to the original blood. So he said, look, when the fourth man come, that's it. Now they white. Like, see, we can let them play that game, right? We let them play that game, let them do what they gotta do, and then yeah, we just pick one of them, then they white. Our kids with them would be white, and then we ain't got to worry about them inheriting our inheritance. You know, all this right here, the Sanford Arms. It is understood in natural history that a fourth cross of one race of animals with another gives an issue equivalent for all sensible purposes to the original blood. Thus, a merino ram being crossed first with the country ewe, secondly with this daughter, thirdly with this granddaughter, and fourthly with the great granddaughter, the last issue is deemed pure merino. And see, like I said, look, a merino ram, right? A ram is a male crossed with a country ewe, which is a female. See, like I said, at no point in time was this about the original man and the white one. See, because it says, it says a merino ram being crossed first with a country ewe, secondly with this daughter, thirdly with this granddaughter, and fourthly with the great granddaughter. Now there's some sickness there too, because daughters, because now eventually these are the daughters of this ram. So that's another. I don't think that's what they're meaning by this, but I got certain sensibilities that makes that sound funny to me. I got to know that. Whoa, wait, whoa, right? So it says the last issue is deemed pure merino, having in fact but 1/16 of the country blood. Our canon considers two crosses with the pure white and a third with any degree of mixture, however small, as clearing the issue of Negro blood. But observe that this does not reestablish freedom, which depends on the condition of the mother, the principle of the civil law, partis sequitur ventrum, another Latin term. Can anyone get us a definition on this here? Partus, partus, sequitur, sequitur, ventrum, ventrem, right? So the principle of the civil law, partus sequitur ventrum, being adopted. But if E be emancipated, so E, they talk about this is where the Negro blood is clear, right? But if E be emancipated, he becomes a free white man and a citizen of the US to all intents and purposes, so much for this trifle by way of correction. So now y'all picking up what I'm putting down, that he's talking about the making of the white man. He's talking about making the United States of America into Pelon, the same as Patmos, the place where the devil was manufactured. Is anybody picking up what I'm putting down right here? And I'm still waiting for one of y'all that keeps talking about. I'm still waiting for some of the people that keep talking about we need to change the lessons. So L7 in me said that partus sequitur ventrum means something created in the womb, but his Latin is rusty. But now that you say that, these, partus, I can kind of, with my very minor knowledge of Latin, I can kind of see that. So he continues on here. I sincerely congratulate you on the peace, and more especially on the close of our war with so much eclat our second and third campaigns have. I trust more than redeem the disgraces of the first and prove that although a Republican government is slow to move, yet when once in motion, its momentum becomes irresistible, and I am persuaded it would have been found so in the late war had it continued. Experience had just begun to elicit those among our officers who had talents for war, and under the guidance of these one campaign, would have planted our standard on the walls of Quebec and another on those of Halifax. But peace is better for us all, and if it could be followed by a cordial conciliation between us and England, it would ensure the happiness and prosperity of both. The bag of wind, however, on which they are now riding must be suffered to blow out before they will be able soberly to settle on their true bottom. If they adapt a course of friendship with us, the commerce of 100 millions of people will some now born which some now born will live to see here will maintain them forever as a great unit of the European family. But if they go on checking, irritating, injuring, and hostilizing us, they will force on us the motto Carthago delenda est, and some Scipio Americanus will leave to posterity the problem of conjecturing where stood once the ancient and splendid city of London. Woo! He's talking that smoke. Is listen, is he talking that smoke or what? Nothing more simple or certain than the elements of this calculation. I hope the good sense of both parties will concur in traveling rather the paths of peace, of affection, and reciprocations of interest. I salute you with sincere and friendly esteem, and if the homage offered to the virtues of your father can be acceptable to him, place mine at his feet. So I can see that this is a letter that is written shortly after the War of 1812. And this individual, now that we've come through it, right? Francis Gray, Uh, let me see. It does have something here. Oh, so we have some definitions down here. Let's. I didn't see that. So did I go too far? Right. So we see now partis sequitur ventrum means the offspring follows the condition of the mother. So now I know exactly what he was saying. He's talking about there was a lady, I can't remember her name, but she was half original. And when she was born into slavery, or she was born into slavery, but when they transfer, when her the slave master died or whatever, and they tried to transfer her, she said, "Nah, I wasn't a slave. I was free, and I'm supposed to be free because my father is white, so I'm not a slave. My father is a white slave master." And so they instituted a law at that point that said that if uh, your mother is a slave, you're a slave. And so now you don't have these half original people that have a claim on these white people's, legal status, economic uh, legacy, et cetera, et cetera. So the offspring follows the mother. Right. Now, look, they talk about Sally Hemings right here. If Thomas Jefferson had a liaison with his slave, Sally Hemings, and if she was a quadroon, like I said, right, she was the offspring in her family, right, in his wife's family, right, already of this process, right? If she was a quadroon, according to these calculations, their offspring would have been legally white and entitled to citizenship if they were emancipated. The Roman senator Marcus Cato supposedly exclaimed, Carthago delinda est, Carthage must be destroyed. And so this is what he's saying to England. Like I said, you're talking that serious smoke. you, you're talking that serious smoke. But yeah, there's all of that. There's all of that right there. Thomas Jefferson is quite the character. So like I said, this is at the National Archives. We everybody can go and research this for themselves, and draw it up, for yourself, not just the things that we saw right here. Maybe you'll see some things that we didn't see. You know what I'm saying? But now it's on y'all. What we somebody what's the deal? It's been a lot of silence out there. It's been a lot of silence out there. Look, there was a presentation being made. There was a presentation being made, but I mean, look, how many people learned something today? Divine Scientific, welcome to the gym. How many people was today years old when they learned that Thomas Jefferson know all about the wisdom, will, and destroy degree. L7, you learned something today? That's peace. That means it was a good class. Just in general, I hate that, because I hate when somebody talks to me like that. So let alone for me to be speaking. I hate to be speaking and people don't understand what I'm saying. Like I didn't get no message. See, Thomas Jefferson is a wild character to me because, at least when I was growing up, right, we learned that, I'm talking about in elementary school, we learned that George Washington and Thomas Jefferson was somehow good slave masters. And people that might just be tuning in, I was telling people how when I was in elementary school, we had a school field trip to Washington, D.C. And we visited uh, Thomas Jefferson's house and George Washington's house. And some of the stories that used to be out, like, look, did anybody hear the story at elementary school that George Washington kept all his slaves because he didn't want to sell them because because he loved them and the next slave master might be cruel to him. Like he knew that other slave masters was cruel, so he didn't sell his slaves because he didn't want the next slave master to be cruel to them. Did anybody hear that? Or did I just go to particular propaganda? Did I get particular propaganda? This is like the first, second, third grade. This is back. This is before history. This is like this story. This I don't even know if this is social studies yet. Because social studies is mostly like kind of state history. That's it. Nobody else heard that. Well, yeah, that's maybe it's just me that look, that's why it's good that I got the knowledge. It's because that's the kind of bullshit they was telling me when I was in elementary. Look, George Washington never told a lie. He chopped down his father's cherry tree. Y'all never heard this stuff? Like I said, I heard he had like 300 slaves. Yeah, he had a whole George Washington. Like, I was both of them. Both of them, it was like, look, when you came to the plantation, right? This is the front of the house, see the big house and everything. And then in the backyard, it was mad, that's where the slaves was at. It's like mad shacks, like 50 shacks in the backyard. But like as you come in, like I said, it's look, Monticello, Mount Vernon. It's on mountains. So as you coming up the hill and everything, all you seeing is green. They showing you, yeah, look, the architecture over there, the landscaping over there. Look at this, look at that. And then when you went out in the back, you saw the slave quarters. You know what I'm saying? Or look, when they describe the triangle trade, like when they describe the triangle trade, right? Am I the only one that's thinking that one corner of this trade, right, got the short end of the stick? Look, we got a triangle trade. going on between the Americas, Europe, and Africa, right? Am I the only one that's thinking, right? That one corner, right? You got a triangle, you got three corners. Am I the only one that from elementary school was thinking that one corner got the short end of the stick here in the straight? Like what did they get? I still, when you look over there now, you wonder, but you know what happened? They shot all those bullets and drank all that liquor. It's gone. You miss, look, it's like the crack game. It's like right now, if you go stand on a corner where people made millions of dollars, but yeah, that was in the 80s. That's gone. So that money's gone. You know what I'm saying? Like you roll up on this dude, look, he just coming home after 30 years. What money? Hey, nigga, that was going halfway through the case before I got convicted. That's how I got convicted. I ran out of money. That's bingo. What you think we doing here? I served up. I was in the smart class. We went to DC. Look, we went to Tennessee to see the World's Fair. Uh, we went to Broadway. We seen plays. We seen was that Chorus Line? I think it was the Chorus Line. And we go, yo, so I never forget. We was in junior high school, say, and the lady started singing this song. Like they like the people is auditioning to be on the chorus line. So the one lady, when she starts saying why she should be in the chorus line, she starts singing this song that I got tits and ass. I'm dead ass serious, son. I never you said we in junior high school. You know what I'm saying? And look, this is not today. We don't got the internet. It's not the internet. We've never seen the things. we, we still looking at National Geographic and shit. so, so yeah, this was crazy at the time. You know what I mean? Now, if you took some junior high school kids, they'd be like, man, this is nothing. Yeah, they got OnlyFans and shit. But back then, we had none of that. So just saying I could say that, yeah, nah, look, they did their best. That's what look, you've seen a couple times on this channel, I've apologized to my teachers. Because in retrospect, I realized they really tried. They tried. So some of them, I mean, there was some, Mr. Mind Dog, he ain't tried. He ain't listen. He was just there so he didn't get fined. That was it. But look, there was some of them. They tried to help you, but uh I just didn't have the knowledge yet, but I already was me. I already, you see what I'm saying? So you said New York city school system was lit. We had real teachers. Once upon a time we did. We had some teachers that they should try to help us, but we were so far gone. Like, see now when the people say it, and I think back, I'm like, yeah, damn, that's what it is. It's that we we on PTSD times, eh? So by the time we get to school, we not thinking about what they saying, you know. Then I get the knowledge. And it's really like, man, look, why don't you sit down and learn that, in my mind. But at any rate, I mean, how we seeing this, how we drawing this up? How are we drawing this up, right? Now that we know about that time, now that we know about that time that Thomas Jefferson manifested the wisdom, build, destroy, degree as the solution for the slave problem. Because see, I did do some homework on this. As you research into this, right? Part of this question that they saying is, what are we gonna do if this population of black people get too big? Because remember, by this time, right? This is March 4th, 1815. So by this time, the thing is happening in Haiti. So some states, South Carolina, you know, Mississippi, Alabama, these states they got to stop being concerned. What they call that, the Delta, the Mississippi Delta, and all that. At one time they said the richest people in America was in the Mississippi Delta because they had the slaves there. Where they had the situation, they said that those were the richest people. There's no police yet. So now these people got to be concerned about this. Thomas Jefferson, right here, is suggesting this as the solution. And this is why he made sure to put in there that another key is that they have to be emancipated. That we could breed them out, like he's saying right here, right? We could thin the blood and all that, but as long as we still have them in that condition, right, of being slaves, mentally as well as physically, then we got less to worry about. That's what this is about. If everybody didn't pick up the whole picture, that's what so you got to look at all this, look at all this, right? Don't just see this is what you're supposed to learn about the science of using mathematics, right? To understand what things mean. Supreme mathematics, not just arithmetic. See, 1815, you 1,815 years after Jesus, right? Anno Domini in the year of our Lord, 1,814 years have passed, and we're on March 4th of the 1,815th year. See, we could just deal with that arithmetic. Or we could deal with the fact that some of the stuff that he wrote here, I realize you're writing this after the War of 1812. And that's why you sending shots. That's why you sending shots to England in here. You're speaking very shortly after the Haitian Revolution. And so this is why y'all people is concerned with this. This is why look, he said it is indeed of little importance, right? He says up here at the top, yet as well corrected as otherwise, and the rather, as it gives me an occasion of renewing my respects to you, you asked me in conversation what constituted a mulatto by our law. And then he goes on to break down how they can make the devil, right, by getting a black woman pregnant and then her daughter pregnant and then her daughter pregnant. And then even if we just have, we have this half original son, and then we have this woman over here who she's the product of a half original mixing with a white person, so she's a quarter room, right? They can make the devil too. Look, here's my question. Does it seem less far-fetched? Right? Because see, when I say this is what Elijah said, people act like it's far-fetched. People act like, no, we need to change the lessons because it can't be that. Can't be that. But now that Thomas Jefferson said it, right? Is it more acceptable? Is it less far-fetched? See, like I said, look, now that the Human Genome Project has determined that all blonde-haired, blue-eyed people descend from a common ancestor that lived 6,600 years ago. Am I the only one that saw that? Did anybody else? Look, go ahead, Google it. I'm not even look. Go ahead. If you didn't hear it, go ahead and Google it. The Human Genome Project and see how they do the 23andMe and they say you from here or you from there, this your ancestry. That's the from the Human Genome Project, the mapping the DNA of various populations. Now, don't get me wrong, they don't have everybody in the population. So that's, I'm not saying that this is 100% accurate. I'm just saying that that's what they did, right? Is they, in their minds, they got representatives from all of these various populations. So that's why now it's okay, these people over here, they have the E1B1A, or these people over here got this other gene. They mapped all that out in the Human Genome Project. And so one of the things they determined is that all blonde haired, blue eyed people descend from a common ancestor that lived 6,600 years ago. I don't know. Was this live stream like deep or something? Because we ain't getting was y'all like speechless today. Or is it that, sometimes, because that's the way I like to look at things. Did I just manifest all of this so clearly and so supremely that there's no question? did I did I manifest this so supremely that we could just move on? Because if we can move on, look, and y'all got some other questions. Let's get to that. But these was one of these types of things where it was like, look, I don't know who needs to hear this. Thomas Jefferson, yeah, I think they said he had 6 children with the Sally Hemings, the slave with his children. You know, uh, Thomas Jefferson, one of the ways how he got a good reputation, like the stuff with what I'm saying that when I was a kid, I learned that, like, yeah, he was a slave master, but he was a nice slave master. Yeah, I never could like how did that go together? Nice and slave master. I couldn't understand that. But you know how today people say that the Democrats and the Republicans is the same thing? They actually started as the same party. And Thomas Jefferson was their candidate, the Democratic Republicans. And see, Thomas Jefferson was a Democrat, and he was about the people, right? He was about the people as far as him and his friends. So this has me thinking, can the half original that's grafted way out still create an albino? Because black people are known for nothing albinos. You got typos there, so. But albinos is something different. Uh, albino is a is a phenotypical trait. Like it's something that manifests phenotypically, right? But that person's child, that they still got black seed and brown seed in, but it just manifests like that. But I don't know the whole science of it. But that's it's more phenotypical than genotypical. There was some comments there that I missed. I don't know if I can get it because I ain't on right. What's the name? If anybody else commented right there, it's that was my fault. I missed it. Put it back. I seen Supreme Man came in. You know what I mean? But what I was talking about was Thomas Jefferson founded the Democratic Republicans, but see, he was an elitist. He didn't like the common white people either. So see, like ideas like the uh what they call that thing that they elect the president, the electoral college. and all of that, where it's like, look, we about the people because we not about the king. We not about that aristocracy. But we don't want these uneducated motherfuckers being equal to us neither. But see, as those unequal motherfuckers came up in America, right? It became like a battle between those elite blue blood motherfuckers who was already rich when the American Revolution happened, right? And the poor people that was out there. And that split, like it solidified around the time of Andrew Jackson. And Andrew Jackson hated original people. He had some shit where they said that he was living someplace and they got attacked by some Indians when he was a kid. And so he was one of the first motherfuckers that broke the Indian treaty. We don't give a fuck, get him out of here. Right? But he didn't like the elite motherfuckers. He didn't like the banks. They said that he's the only president that ever paid up all the debt. That after he left the presidency, he paid all the debt because he didn't like the elite motherfuckers. He didn't want to owe them nothing. But at any rate, that wing, because he was a Democrat too, but that wing of the Democratic Party that he was down with, they stopped liking that elite wing of the Democratic Party. And so for them, because those common people, right, for the most part to this day, you'll see that they'll say that those people is in the South and the elites is in the Los Angeles, Chicago, New York, Boston, et cetera, et cetera. So they started talking about Thomas Jefferson as somebody who was against slavery, that he was against the kind of Southern common way of life. And that's how he got this. That's one of the ways he started getting this reputation as a good guy. That he was like, I mean, look, like I said, it's different time. But when I was in elementary, they was teaching us that look, slaves, they used to sing and dance. They had songs and stuff. Like slavery was bad, but it wasn't that bad because they was happy because they used to sing and dance. You know, Thomas Jefferson and uh, George Washington was good slave masters. That was the word they used. Wait, so am I the only one that ever heard the term necessary evil? There's no way that I'm the only person that ever heard that term. Yo, divine understanding, where you been all this time, man? Because listen, it's been raggedy in here. It's been, it's been raggedy in here, son. P Almighty was still. So Jesse heard. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, Jesse, yeah, look, thanks for bailing me out because this whole time I've been talking and everybody's acting like they didn't hear none of this. So y'all didn't get no indoctrination. That's- Yeah, y'all all went to Afrocentric schools or some shit. Yeah, I can't. That's crazy. That there's all these people that never heard these terms. That term necessary evil, where they were saying that look, uh, slavery was just a part of manifest destiny. That you know what I'm saying. It was just a necessary evil, just in the course of. But America is so great though. America is so great, and because you know what I think it is. They had to explain what was going on. And you got like, because you got to remember, I'm coming to school shortly after integration. So now they got to explain to all these black kids what happened. they, they, they got to explain to these black kids what happened. Like when you get to this section, what do you say to all these black kids? I mean, I don't know. I don't know what they was thinking. But that's what they told us, that it was a necessary evil, that was a part of manifest destiny, but that, that's over now. That, now it's civil rights and, racism and all that is ended. Hey, look, Supreme Man, you a good person came in. Look, let's ask Supreme Man. Let's ask Supreme Man. Look, Supreme Man, what do you think? Truth Seeker said they still use that term in the military right now. See, not for nothing. That's one of the things. That's what this whole live stream is about. That see, Thomas Jefferson is manifesting the first rules and regulations, including all laws to be enforced while manufacturing the devil in 1815, right here. But look, Supreme Man, I got a question. What do you think of the new the new leader of the Black Panthers? We're not gonna proceed. We're gonna let's hear from Supreme Man. Look, the new Black Panthers. Give us a rundown. Particularly, particularly the leader. He's a Supreme Man type person. Look, I want to see what he got to say. Look, and see, he type person. He keep it 100. Look, Supreme Man. So I didn't do my due diligence on him yet. I was going to do a deep dive today. I will the next day. Unfortunately, I can't add on it. Now, see, look, you see what I told you? People that was born in our era, we know that you cannot just accept a nigga you don't know, say, because we grew up in the aftermath of all that stuff that happened. Like all the papers, like you gotta remember the people that was there at that time, they didn't know that there's an operation called COINTELPRO. They know they being investigated. They know that, yo, they get someplace and the people is there. They like, yo, how the fuck did they know we was meeting here? But they don't know you know what I'm saying? All of the papers and everything come out. The Freedom of Information and all act and all that stuff. And now all the information come out. All that stuff came out when we was kids. And so we found out who the traders was and what was the characteristics of the traders. So see, that's how I knew when I asked Supreme Man, I already knew, look, I didn't know specifically what answer he was going to give, but see, I knew he wasn't going to be, oh yeah, Black Power. See, I knew he wasn't going to say that. I knew it was going to be, nah, you know who this nigga is. You see, he said, say it, and we don't know who this nigga is, bro, stay away from him until then. You know, Supreme Man, look, he's dealing with supreme equality. You know what I'm saying? He's dealing with supreme equality. Look, I'm not even, I can't even take to the level. I'm gonna tell you, stay away from him. And look, the burden of proof is on you. You gotta come and prove to me that he's somebody. I'm saying, get him out of here. Freeman said some of our elders were poverty pimps too, making money off degradation and poor people. I mean, now look, I'm gonna tell you something. I was just looking at that. I'm stretching it right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm stretching it right now. You know, in terms of definitions, right? But you know, I was just looking at that. You know, this was like on another side topic, but just related to what you said. Is that yo? That's kind of what hip hop turned into. They selling people these same dreams. They doing the same prosperity preaching, son. And if you notice, you know, and like I said, I know this is a reach. But if you notice, look, where a lot of those prosperity preachers come from is the same place where the last wave of hit of top hip hop people came from. And that's not a shot to the city. That's not a shot to everybody there. It's a shot to poverty pimps. You know what I'm saying? All this, all this YouTube stuff. You know what I'm saying? Trump is on colonization. I'm gonna tell you something. Jigga 1017, what's the deal? I'm gonna tell you something, just some new shit, right? A lot of that white man shit expired. It did. Just like a lot of other things. Just like I was saying on the positive tip, right? That I'm not the same people. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? When Elijah Muhammad was teaching, he's teaching populations of people who don't know how to read and write. When he said they're illiterate, they're really illiterate. Like I said, those problems that they got in the problem book that they figuring out, I did that in elementary school. And that's not to belittle those people that's saying that by them fighting for what they fought for, right? By the time I came along, they had to let me in the school. Where they had to teach me arithmetic. They had to teach me how to read. Now I can research stuff like this thing that we did that the live was about today. I can research that for myself now. So it's not belittling them. I'm just saying that, yeah, I advanced off of what they did. See, by the same token, right, we have to realize that we're not the babies in the 21st degree no more. We not blind, deaf, and dumb. We know all the movements. We know that those people ain't know where they came from. We don't have exact, you know what I mean? We might can't go over there right now and talk to a specific person, say that's our cousin. All these various people, whoever's your person, Dawood you Ali then came. Elijah then came. Law then came. And it's not just you know, like I said, on every level of education. Just if you talk about the history, Dr. Ben, John Heinrich Clark, Carter G was all the people that came. You know, he's a jackass. A lot of things he be trying to disagree with him, but there's a what's the scientist dude name? I can't recall his name because, like I said, I don't like it too much anymore. But just saying that he exists, that you know that he's in that position, that he has that type of knowledge. So when we talk about the 1 in 36, when we talk about the various times in the lessons, when we talk about the trader making the interorientation, he's making the interorientation with people who don't know him, who don't Tyson the grass. That's what I'm talking about. Neil Tyson the grass, who don't know him and don't know how he get down. Now, you can't sit here now and give me a whole speech about how negative the white man is and the white man's the devil and he get down like this and he get down like this and this is his purpose, this is his goal, and then you still falling for the bullshit. I mean, who's that's not to say that he's not with the bullshit, but just to say, should I be rocking with you? Knowing that you know the bullshit and you still susceptible to it. So just it comes to a point where it's like, I, you know, we from the street, right? So see, this is the thing, right? What did you try? Like what you tried? Like, all right, you know what I mean? He the devil, he did what he did, but what you tried, right? Now let me manifest that in a hood kind of way, right? In a hood kind of way, where people can understand, right? Something happened to you, right? You get jumped, whatever, right? You get to your people. Hey, get to the big brother show, man. It's over there, man. Motherfucker treat me like a sucker, man. What are they going to ask you? Somebody tell me, man, because everybody here, somebody, because like I said, y'all ain't even participating today. So somebody tell me what's going to happen. What are they going to say when you get back and you see I was over there and he treated me like a sucker? You know what I mean? What we going to do about that? What are they going to say to you? We ain't going nowhere till somebody answer that question. Just 1475, where they at? Look, there's a question they're going to ask you before that. Truth seeker, did you fight? 793rd. What did you do? See, I know sometimes I gotta jog your memory, see, because I know what happens. I know what happens. See, y'all on here and y'all thinking, y'all thinking that, oh, nah, this some knowledge type of shit. Like we got going to lesson. Nah, nigga, what did you do? It, that's how I learned that here. Yeah, man, I'm doing this at such a small age that, yeah, a lot of things I've learned that here. Where in particular, I'm saying here, there's nothing insurmountable. Whatever happened, we gonna handle it. But what did you do? See, look, when I got here, that was the two questions. Look. So look, even somebody come to us and have somebody else. Look, he knows lessons. I and what he did. Son, I seen things get handled. I seen things just get handled. Like the person never was there. But that person, they knew their lessons. And they did what they were supposed to do. All right, we got that. Don't even worry about it. Don't even go home. We got it. So I'm just saying, right? I just took it to that level so that it could be a clear example. But now let's bring that back to what people is saying about the white man this, the white man that. They see, look, we learning the lessons that the white man wants us to be hungry, naked, and out of doors. How many people on this live stream right now is hungry, naked, or out of doors? I'm sure everybody in this live stream right now could tell me what is the thing or things that they do to not be hungry, naked, or out of doors. If you put your key in the lock to your house right now and it don't work, you're gonna have a person that you're going to call and you're going to have some specific complaints, right, about how the agreement is not being, it's not going how it was agreed to. You're going to know exactly why you belong in there. If you walking out the supermarket with your bags and the person stop you, you're going to show them your receipt and show them the reason why this is your stuff. So by that same token, it's like, yeah, we too far down the wishing list. We too far down the line, right? We too far down the line of knowing that we got, right, to put what he's doing before what we have to do. Like, see, look, I guess we doing a lot of, kind of, I mean, I consider history. Some people might say it's trivia, right? But uh the desegregation of the schools, right? Brown versus the Board of Education. There was actually multiple children in it. It was a class action case. There was a lot of kids in it. But what happened is Brown was the first name alphabetically. And so instead of listing all the names, it just put Brown versus Board of Education, right? Now, in particular, these children that they picked was all children that excelled in school. Like, they didn't want to pick kids that was like, yeah, well, this kid is fights every day. This is the reason why, of course, we not putting him in a good school. You understand what I mean? They picked particular children that had already did everything they were supposed to do to be allowed into the good school. So now you can't say nothing else. What's the reason then? If it's not race, then what's the reason? You see how when you do everything you gotta do, then you can come back. You see what I mean? And demand that there be some change. But how is going to be some change and you didn't put the change in yourself yet? You didn't change nothing about your ideas or your actions, right? To achieve this new goal. You got this particular goal, right? You wanted to be in the NBA, but all you did is play football. Nothing wrong with football, but you didn't do none of the things that it takes to get in the NBA. And I'm just saying that, look, and I'm on YouTube too, but I'm just saying that, yeah, when I look at YouTube, right, especially, what they call Black YouTube, bro, I see so many things that we got to deal with. See, whether there's a white man or not, like, whether the white man exists or not, these is things we got to deal with. Say this hunger, nakedness, and out of doors breeds ambition. Those who lack tend to go get. Those who have tend to get arrogant, complacent, and lazy. All the empires were conquered by those who lack or were considered least likely to. I mean, that's another conversation. I know what you're saying, but that's a That's another conversation. So when a powerful people don't have good orderly direction, it's easy to drop things like culture, and that's in general. It's easy to drop something and difficult to pick things up. Yeah, that's one of the main messages of this channel is that you got to know who you are. Like for instance, you deal with the construction trades. You know what I mean? It's various people that come in. You know what I mean? Plumbers, electricians. You got to know who you are in order to know what part of the house you're even supposed to go to and start working. Right. Rosa Parks was another person. Right. That was a great example right there that you use L7 a lot of them picking a person who did everything they had to do, right? To where now you can't say that it's for another reason, right? Because it's gotten more popular now, but at one time people didn't know that she actually came on there and reenacted something that happened with this girl. It was actually a girl that this happened to for real. You know what I'm saying? But the girl was like 15 or 16. You know, she was a teen mother and she had got belligerent. Well, I ain't gonna say belligerent because she's sitting down and you know what I mean, but she's popping off. You know what I'm saying? When they told her to leave, she wasn't leaving. You know what I'm saying? So she had at that time, right? These was all things where they could say these is other reasons. Oh, the real lady that it happened to passed recently. She passed away. Jack King just put in the what's the name that he said he thinks she passed. So I don't know if he's talking about because he couldn't be talking about Rosa Parks. But he's probably talking about this girl that I'm talking about. She was 15 or 16. And what happened is that happened to her. And so now the NAACP in what's that, Selma, right? I think that's the Selma, Alabama. The NAACP, they're thinking of a way like, yo, how can we fight this? And so uh, Rosa Parks was like somebody's wife that worked at the NAACP. Like she's like a secretary down there or whatever, but she was somebody, look, we got to keep it behind it. And I know, look, it's coming from somebody that's dark skinned. This might sound funny, but look, she was light skinned. You know what I'm saying? She had the right complexion. You know what I mean? She had the right standing, the right background and everybody and everything for them to say, what is the reason other than racism that you told this woman to get out this shit? You see what I'm saying? They had all these other reasons that they could, not that they would have been valid, but just saying that, So, right, Rosa Parks passed away in 05, 06, 17. Claudette Colvin, right, that's her name. She returned on January 13th, just now this year. Man, but yeah, I'm just saying that was a good example uh, that you brought up of how you have to be prepared. That's what the law was teaching us. Be prepared in all these various worlds. See, first of all, look, take this knowledge right here. This is who you are. Now look, you got to go to school, son. You got to get a job. You got to get a trade in order to be able to do what you got to do in this world. Right here on the planet Earth, in this world that we be talking about is six, you have to show that you can master this. See, how you the master of seven and you can't master six? You have to prepare yourself for these various worlds. So right now, look, we know what it is. We know the whole history. Like, nigga, look, this is what I'm saying. There's a white man, nigga, I know your big homie, nigga. I know the nigga that made you. What other person that you could say that about is bothering you? You see, sometimes, and I'm not saying that people be hating on the devil, you know, I ain't saying you're supposed to love him or nothing. I'm just saying that sometimes, you know, that's the place where hate comes from too, you know, and where a lot of things come from is people be under the impression, right, that if that person wasn't doing what they was doing, then I could do my thing. Nah, nigga, don't mean that. Like, look, you know, if she didn't like that dude over there, then she'd like me. No, no, no. If he wasn't getting money over there on that corner, then I could get no, no, that's not how it works. That's not how it works. So you got people that look at like, these are some of the people that you see say they're thinking that if I wasn't saying what I was saying, then people would listen to them. No, no, it doesn't work like that. What you got to say and who do the knowledge, you don't got a fucking thing to do with me. And see, that's what you gotta understand. They got somebody used to say that. Remember SW from Newark? He used to say, look, the devil going devil. You know what I'm saying? He said that should be a sin. The devil going devil. So what is the thing you think you want to do to make him change? Because it's saved. And can you reform him devil? So what's the thing you thought you was going to do? See, look, just like with me, I tell people, look, people come you and tell me all this stuff, bro. I don't know what you thought you was going to do. You didn't teach me nothing outside of this right here. You're not going to teach me nothing. I'm talking about you're not going to teach me the guy is from the planet Zebulon or whatever the fuck is your idea of it. You can teach me nothing. The leaders of the civil rights movement. Damn it. See, I ain't got on my what's the name tonight. But you know, look, it's good. It's good. We good. We here. We doing the dizzle. You know what I'm saying? But we do have to start winding down now. I saw the alert came up a minute ago. My battery's low. My battery's low. I think we did good. We dropped some history today. You know, I don't know how much I really gave people to think about today because this is kind of it is what it is. You know, there could be, there should be some homework. You know, I would hope that at the very least, everybody go and look this up for themselves. Because I done told y'all already. I'm not backing nobody up. Don't tell nobody no knowledge. And then and people say, yo, where you got that from? And you say, yeah, man, I got that from Darkim Be. I'm not gonna back you up. You better hope this video is still up. If this video is still up and then you show somebody the video, but see, let me tell you something. If the only evidence you got of what you're saying is on the internet, it's probably not true. And I'm saying that as somebody on the internet that, look, I done been told you. Don't take nothing on face value. Firstly and foremostly means the stuff I'm saying. You don't mean the stuff where I'm supposed to tell you. If you believe what other people say, that's on you. I'm telling you, don't take the stuff I'm saying on face value. See, research it, right? Draw it up, and then when people ask you why you say it, tell them what you drew up. Don't say I said it. Say you said it. Because you the one who said it. See, if you only try to tell people what you remember what I said, then what if you don't remember it all right? They remember Eddie Murphy's Delirious, where he said, "Yo, the people be at the job tomorrow trying to tell all the jokes." And then he said he wiped his ass with the bear with the rabbit. And I don't get it. See, you never gonna remember everything what I said. But you're gonna remember, man, what you said. You're gonna remember what you went through. The see, I don't want to say it's labor because it's only labor for those that don't want to do it. But I guess you could say it's a labor of love. But see, I'm saying that once you've done that for yourself, you've went through that trials and tribulations for yourself. See, I don't know this because the guy told me that. Yeah, oh yeah, that's who introduced me to that. But I went to the National Archives and saw that myself. And then I looked in the big bibliography, right? And I looked those books up. I went to the library or whatever, and yeah, that's I did that myself. See, what that got to do with me now? What that got to do with me now once you didn't take it on face value? Only thing that got to do with me is you could give me a shout out, right? That I planted the seed of introducing you to that topic or whatever it may be. But getting back to where we at, we got any last questions? Like I tell you, the battery's about to die. Fortunately for me, I already cooked tonight. I actually ate right before I came home. So I already, I'm set up. I'm set up. I'm good. The rest of the night is gonna flow smooth. Yeah, I've been wondering what happened to remember that dude, Menuo's Dose? Who was remember the brother from Egypt? Oh yeah, Omar Carter. I meant to tell you too. Uh, did you contact me because there's a Zoom call where they deal with the plumbing, HVAC, and electricity class. And so what I was gonna do is send you the link because the class happens on Sundays. You know what I'm saying? It's generally, like 6 o'clock to like 8 or 9. So what I was gonna do is introduce you to the brother that conducts the what's the names, and then y'all can take it from there because y'all the experts. Did you send me you sent me something on Instagram? What's your name on Instagram? Because I don't think I saw it. But look, we getting new computers. Shout out to the guy Kara, that rests up in Westchester. You know what I'm saying? He's upgrading the computers right now in the computer room. You know what I mean? So they got it's a considerable amount of them that have been upgraded. So that's another thing where I'll be saying, like, this is fun, doing it's not going away, but at the same time, it's like, man, uh, you know, just in terms of my history, right? You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to just be like, yo, what the guy did. He had a dope YouTube channel. Fuck all that, son. See what I mean? We need to get into action. See, the brothers before, right? Like, we talk about construction, right? You know what I'm saying? The brothers before, they put the foundation down. Now we got to put what they call that, the frame, the metal thing that they put up that hold the building up. We got to get that up, son. That's supposed to be our time. Then the next brothers got to come in and put the facade up and all that. You know what I mean? Then you see the brothers inside putting the sheetrock and the electricity and all that together. But we got to get our part in. Well, look, I got to get my part in. Fuck y'all. And I mean that sincerely. I got to get my part in. You see what I'm saying? And you could be a talker. You know what I mean? You could be a talker and come on YouTube. The best talkers excel. That's good. We need talkers. Look, I'm a talker. Listen, you know what I mean? But I'm not. That's not. That's I deal with wise words and wise ways and actions. So really, you know, those are the things. You know what I'm saying? And even when we talk about the unity, those are the things that I can unify with people on. Those are the things that I don't care if you Muslim, I don't care if you Christian, I don't care if you Masonic, I don't care if you Moorish. Supreme Man said complexion was a factor too. In what? Because I think I know I switched topics. So I'm not sure what you. But yeah, that's how you know what I mean. Like I'm just saying, like, look, when it's a wrap, because time goes on. And see, some people, we know about them because of the impact that they had. You know, even if we don't know them, individually, like, you might don't know the particular history of that person. And you know how many people I've asked them, right? They live in the projects with a certain name, and I ask them, who is that person? And they don't know. People that have gotten shot representing, they've gotten shot because they was representing them. They don't even know who that person name, who that person that they keep saying their name is. You on this street, yo, we on this street, we represent this street right here. And it's named after a person that you don't even know this person history. This person history could have been totally against you. But uh, we're gonna sign off for this one. Like I said, the brother Kara is he's upgrading the computers in the school. So, two of the things I'm moving into is we got the guy Born True, right? Not True Born, Born True. He got some financial um literacy classes, various things that he's gonna teach. He's gonna be in there. We got some artificial intelligence in terms of doing the prompts. And, with AI, you got the raw companies, but then you got a lot of programs that have AI integrated. You know what I'm saying? That you can use in various ways. So we got somebody that is going to be teaching all of that. And then we're going to get back to the cybersecurity stuff. You see what I mean? Where, I could say that, for me, I'm saying as an individual where I can say, well, look, these individuals right here that's doing well in life, you know what I'm saying? They went on to do whatever, look, I had a little bit, you know, they did what they did. You know what I'm saying? But look, at least I swept the bullshit off the track so they could have a clean path, eh? While they won their race. You see what I'm saying? Instead of just, yeah, you had a good YouTube channel. you know, I don't know how much I care about that. If I did, I wouldn't talk about the shit I talk about. I talk about all the hip hop gossip that everybody else would talk about. See, every time I would come on here, I make sure, I'm dressed a certain way and jewelry and all this shit. I would do that. Right. On my card. Want to help people win. Look, I want to be on the winning team. See, back in the days, all the sports was team sports. You had some things, tackling a man with the ball. You had 21, but that wasn't as fun as playing the game. So. Attack of the Man Ball was fun, but that wasn't as fun as a full-on games. 21 is fun, but it's not as fun as a full court. When we got enough people, we playing a full court. So I'll be on a winning team, and the other people on my team, they don't got 22. They supposed to look, yeah, I'm gonna have 35. But yeah, niggas on my team, they got 20, 25. So that, yeah, so I'm saying, look, if tonight, look, you on fire, look, hey, do 50, son. I'm gonna get 20 tonight. If we try and get the chip. So, at any rate, we're gonna go ahead because I guess we've done the do for the night. All right. We don't have any questions left. You know what I mean? Shout out to y'all. You know what I'm saying? Uh, you know, like I said, for those that learn something, I appreciate y'all too. You know what I'm saying? Do the each one, teach one, hit the like button. You know what I'm saying? I don't know really how the hype thing work because I really only watch YouTube on TV. So I don't really see the hype button, but I don't know, hype it up, whatever you gotta do out there. You know what I'm saying? Uh the new people out there was a couple new names that I saw, you know what I'm saying, subscribe to the channel. Jula TV said that his notifications was turned off for the channel. So I don't know if you got your notifications. If you didn't, check your notifications. You might need to re-click that. You know what I'm saying? I know I keep saying that. This week I'm really striving to get back on here one more time. You know what I mean? But in the meantime, between time, I'm gonna sign off and say peace. You know what I'm saying? And we shall return.